Now, I know we covered growling just a bit in the earlier video about a dog's mouth, but it can be such a scary or disheartening thing for an owner to experience with their dog. We really felt it was warranting its own video. The first thing we want you to know is that while it is scary and no one wants it to happen, dogs growl for a reason. Believe it or not, dogs most commonly growl to de-escalate conflict, by letting the other party know that they're very uncomfortable and need space. It's not desirable by human standards, but it's an extremely important communication. A dog who is growling is often scared, feels threatened, or is under significant distress. While a situation may not strike you as a good reason for a dog to feel stressed, your pup's perception is as good as reality. Whether it seems like a valid feeling or not to you, it does to your dog. We also want you to know that punishing a growling dog to make them stop can have catastrophic results. Because punishing a growling dog does not actually address the underlying emotional cause that started the growl, the only thing it can do is suppress it. It can feel effective in the moment, but by teaching dogs that growling gets punished, we can inadvertently build a stronger negative association with the original trigger, or with us. More devastatingly, we can teach the dog that growling doesn't work to remove the conflict and make the stressful things stop or go away. It just adds to their stress. This is a bit like taking the batteries out of a smoke detector. Sure, you won't hear the alarming noise, but you also won't know what's happening or give yourself ample warning time to address the problem before it escalates. If we teach a dog that growling comes with negative or aversive responses on our end, or doesn't remove the stressor, the dog may learn that they need to escalate to the next step to achieve the relief, and the next step is generally a bite. What if someone was aggressively getting in another person's face and not letting up? What might happen? Well, that's going to depend, isn't it? We have to factor in the person on the receiving end. What are their general coping skills? They might try to walk away, they might try and reason with the aggressor, they may cry, or they may get physical in an attempt to defend themselves. Not only does this change from person to person, but it changes within people from day to day and moment to moment. Even for someone who is normally calm, having a really terrible day can inadvertently change their coping strategy. As bizarre as this comparison may seem, it's important to understand that if pushed enough, if all the stars align just right, any being may lash out when they're under stress. Some may be more tolerant, and it may take weeks, months, or years of buildup to get there, but a lack of safety and security can be risky and damaging. We often hear that bites happen out of the blue. While this can be true, it is almost always not. Usually we as humans are missing more subtle signals from the dog prior to the bite that tell us they were about to bite. When a bite does happen without warning, which is much less common, it's often the result of a learned history of punishment for less intense warning signals, like punishing a growl. Growling doesn't make the conflict stop, so why bother with that, right? We know that it's instinct for many to immediately extinguish that reaction. I promise we aren't judging you if you've done this before. As we've said, growling can be scary, and it's normal to worry about what might happen next if we don't intervene. We simply want you to understand the consequences and know that there are much healthier ways to intervene that won't land you in hot water. With so much advice out there, it can be hard to know how to handle such a situation. But giving your dog space when they tell you they're uncomfortable will not make them bullish, pushy, or out of control. Growling isn't motivated by a power struggle, but instead generally a means of conflict de-escalation. Punishment such as scolding, yelling, hitting, and punitive tools or corrections do not change behavior. They suppress it. And suppression of an emotional state in any sentient being may look effective in that moment, but these things often make their way back to the surface down the line. Sometimes explosively. Suppression is not a healthy way to deal with emotions, and usually they come back to bite us in the end. No pun intended. When your dog growls, immediately give them space from whatever they are uncomfortable with. From there, the best course of action is to use force-free methods to help truly change your dog's underlying emotional response at the root. This way, the growling stops, but because your dog feels genuinely better about the social situation. We know this might be a lot of information to take in, but we want to help. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.